All right, guys, so the Washington Post is out with a pretty big report here about how Biden is set to announce support for major Supreme Court changes. Plans include proposals for legislation to establish term limits for the justices and enforce an ethics code. Okay. So right off the bat here, an ethics code is the biggest no-brainer of all time. I bet if you were to ask the American people, does the Supreme Court have a code of ethics? I guarantee you they would think, well, obviously, of course they have a code of ethics. Wrong. All the other courts do, but the Supreme Court doesn't. So apparently if you make it high enough, you no longer have to have ethics. So insane. But here's what they say. Biden is finalizing plans to endorse major changes to the Supreme Court in the coming weeks, including proposals for legislation to establish term limits for the justices and an enforceable ethics code, according to two people briefed on the plans. He is also weighing whether to call for a constitutional amendment to eliminate broad immunity for presidents and other constitutional office holders, the people said, speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss private deliberations. Okay, now we're talking, right? Term limits is kind of a no-brainer. Should have been done a long time ago. Ethics code is kind of a no-brainer. To not do it is criminal. But to say we are specifically going to try to overturn the idea of presidential immunity, this very broad interpretation of presidential immunity, that you absolutely should do. But look, here's the problem with Biden saying these things is, do you actually have a plan of action to win in the fight to get these things? Or is it just like, I'm going to virtue signal and release a report that says we should do this and then not lift a fucking finger for it? If I know Biden and his history, it's more likely he's going to say, yeah, we should do this, and then just fucking not do it, not do anything, right? See what else we got here. The announcement would mark a major shift for Biden, a former chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee who has long resisted calls to reform the high court. The potential changes come in response to growing outrage among his supporters about recent ethics scandals around Justice Clarence Thomas and decisions by the new court majority that have changed legal precedent on issues including abortion and federal regulatory powers. Biden previewed the shift in a Zoom call Saturday with the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Quote, I'm going to need your help on the Supreme Court because I'm about to come out. I don't want to prematurely announce it, but I'm about to come out with a major initiative on limiting the court. I've been working with constitutional scholars for the last 3 months, and I need some help, Biden said, according to the transcript of the call obtained by the Washington Post. Many, if not all of the changes would probably need congressional approval. Okay, so again, if that's the path we're going here, I don't even know why we're talking about this. The details of Biden's considered policies have not been disclosed. Okay. So look, I don't know, man. I don't know. These are good ideas. Are they going to get done? If you're going to go through Congress, they're probably not. The other thing is, there's another major reason why he would be talking about this now. He sees the polls. He sees Trump is up massively in the polls. He knows he's in big trouble. So what's one of the things he did? The other week when he did a rally, he listed like, hey, here's what we're going to do in the second term. And they were actually decent ideas. Said capping rent increases of 5%. That's a good idea. He said we're going to go after medical debt. We're going to eliminate medical debt. Buy it for pennies on the dollar and wipe it out. Great. All great. But why haven't you done any of those things already? And why are you committed on, if you try to do any of these things, which I doubt he'll try to do most of them, or even half of them, why are you not trying to do it in the most effective and efficient way where you could sort of subvert the authoritarians who are doing everything to kill your legacy and block these things, right? I mean, sometimes he tries to do it that way, but most of the time he's an institutionalist and he'll try to do it the traditional way and get stonewalled and then say, well, there's nothing I can do, right? So look, these are good policy proposals, but the other thing we need to do is court stripping. We've gone through this before, but what is it? Article 3, Section 2 of the Constitution is about how you get to regulate what the court can even address. We got to do that here. We got to do that here. Because if they can go one by one and destroy every pillar of civilized society in this country, and that seemingly is what they're in the midst of doing. So you got to stop them. And a toothless way of fighting back is not going to do it. So look, I don't want to be too cynical here and say, it sucks that he said these things. No, it's good he said these things, but are you going to follow through? Prove to us you're going to follow through. And do it in a way that actually has fight in you. Not some, well, we tried to bring it through the House and couldn't, and that's why we gave up, and now I'm saying there's nothing I could do. Because you're going to have to come more correct than that, because that ain't going to get the job done. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.